Hi friends, I'm host Derek, and this is Talking with Famous People. And tonight, I'm going to be talking some about the death of my cousin Julie. She died tonight, and she's been sick for a while. This is not unexpected, but nevertheless, because I guess I hadn't been updated on the issue in a while, it was not in my mind, so it kind of struck me by surprise. It's not as though my cousin and I were close as adults or anything. Most of my memories of her from childhood. I have spoken to her on the phone a few times as an adult. We may have gone to a couple of common occasions. I'm not sure even about that, but she's nevertheless one of the only. I have a very small, what you might call immediate-ish family, which is my dad, my mom. My mom was an only child. My dad had one sister, Evelyn, my aunt, her husband, Lonnie, and their kids, Brian and Julie. And Julie got melanoma maybe a year and a half ago or something. And it was quite aggressive and moving throughout her body. Eventually she ended up with brain cancer, and she was only in hospice care there at the end for a couple of days before she passed. So the thing is, I feel a general sense of seriousness about the whole occasion. I don't have a lot of personal sense of loss, but I do have a lot of personal sense of like stuck slabs moving. For the last at least year, maybe a little more, there's been concern about my Uncle Lonnie, Julie, and my dad's friend Richard, all of whom are quite sick. Now, you can toss in the mix there. You can toss in the mix there my mom, who's rather deep in the throes of dementia, but nothing about my mom suggests that she's near the end of her life, really, except for the fact that she's lost her ability to engage cognitively, really, I guess you'd say. But very much. But anyway, these four people, but mostly the three, not my mom so much, but these four people represent, for my mom in a general sense, people on death watch, So there's been kind of an unofficial death watch going on now for over a year, and finally we have a death. I don't doubt that for everybody who's closer to Julie IRL, that this comes as a devastating blow, but also a bit of a relief, as the process of dealing with this aggressive cancer has been, I'm sure, very difficult for everybody involved. I get to sort of hear about it third hand from my dad, who's talking to my aunt directly about it, but obviously she's only sharing some things with him, so I'm sure it's even more difficult than she's conveying. My aunt, who's a trooper, she's she and my dad are kind of a funny contrast, because she's quite a devoted Christian and my dad's quite a devoted atheist. So it's funny, sad is not really the right word for it. somber. Like, okay, I'm ready to process as having occurred a reality I've been anticipating and was inevitable. I mean, the thing is, the progression of Julie made it clear that there was never any time when this story was being told as the doctor's giving her a 50-50 chance of full recovery or anything. So, mostly what it makes me think is that this demarcates some new era. My aunt said to my dad, basically, don't come back for the funeral. It's we're gonna have a small thing. We're gonna get her. She's gonna be cremated. We're gonna get it over and done quick. Don't bother coming. It's not gonna be a big ceremony or anything. And so it doesn't look like we're gonna go to the funeral. It wasn't a super long time ago. Maybe right before all this stuff happened with Julie that I talked to her on the phone. And it had been a year since I had spoken to her at that point. You may be FI-polar, but you dislike incontinuity. Is there incontinuity here? I mean, it's not that I'm not... It's not that I'm... I don't know if I'm sad or not. I'm not sure how to say if I'm sad or not. But I feel more... like... in the company of mortality. Whatever feeling that is. Which is a little different than sad. I guess to the extent that I would have been sad, it would have occurred if it had happened all of a sudden without any warning, right? Like, the things that are sad about this are things I've already processed because we all knew that this was inevitable. It was just a matter of how long it was going to take, So, I tend to think of it in terms of framing my own life and this sense that I've had of waiting for one of these slabs to move, and seeing this as the movement thereof, and wondering what stories will emerge given this reality catalyst. Or will it prove to be nothing of the sort? And that those kind of slab interpretations I was making were just wrong. I think the answer is no, they weren't just wrong. I can feel various forces moving in my life, gathering momentum and stuff, that are suggestive that there will be some kind of timing holism to the progression of affairs in my own life and the progression of these slabs I've identified as central pivot points, Obviously, I feel sorry for Uncle Lonnie and Aunt Evelyn. I'm a big believer in the axiom nobody should have to bury their child. That makes me feel sad. That makes me feel sad because it makes me think of how awful it would be to bury my child, Regardless, and I feel sorry for Brian, of course. I don't know what it's like to have a sibling. So I'm not sure. I don't have experiential ways to relate to what that relationship's really like. I've always found it kind of a mysterious relationship, being an only child. You hear about it's referenced so often in books and movies and everything, the brother sister relationship, or brother brother, or sister sister. And there's obviously a closeness there that I've seen in my friends and their siblings and whatnot, but it's always been a relationship that I just somehow don't really get the dynamic of, because I don't have one. Rachel doesn't have a close relationship with her siblings. Regardless, I did have a close relationship with Julie when we were children, for some stretches of time. Mostly we lived in opposite sides of the country, but there were some stretches of time when my parents and her parents would spend time together and stuff. Hi, Mac Daddy. Hi, Boba Fett. If the death is peaceful and life has been fulfilling, usually when one says death of their child, it's neither. The death hasn't been peaceful and the life hasn't been fulfilling. Well, Julie's 52, 53 maybe. She's born in 69. Makes 52 probably. 69 to 20. What year is it? 22? 2022? Yeah. For all of my life, when I'd periodically have gone to graveyards for whatever reason, either because there's some historical graveyard to look at that may or may not have new graves in it, or because there's a picturesque graveyard that also has some new graves in it, or because I've gone to a funeral, or for whatever reason, like when Rachel and I went to the Hollywood Cemetery to look at to find celebrity graves. I've always noticed when a gravestone has my birth year as the person's birth year, 1971. And of course, the older you get, the more frequently you see your birth year on gravestones. When you're in 1972, almost none of the gravestones say 1971 on them. When you're in 2022, a substantially higher number do, you know. I don't think there's much consistency in sibling relationships from instance to instance. Ranges from close friendship to genuine disgust. Hi, beautiful. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, you're live streaming?
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the serious topic of Julie's demise. Rachel's the only one of us who cried, and Rachel doesn't even know the woman. My dad and I didn't cry, but Rachel did. I'm sure my dad wondered. He probably, in his head, my dad was thinking, why are you crying? You don't even know her. But I understood why Rachel was crying, because she saw she's been here from the first announcement that something's wrong with Julie until now. So that's been, about a year, maybe a year and a couple of months. I'm not exactly sure how long, but so, she's been here for all the conversations where my dad comes and says, okay, well, this is the update on it, and what are we going to do? And she passes, and so she kind of feels the significance of the event more presently than I think my dad or I do. I mean, for me, the experience is mythological, mostly, which is to say, it's a concrete world linkage to large stories I'm telling. Large stories sometimes that we're all telling about mortality and stuff, and sometimes about my own life and my where I am and what state, what chapter I'm in, you know.
I'm eating this up, but would you like one for yourself?
No thanks. I'm full for dinner. I had a lot of dinner actually. You had quite a bit, but you didn't eat. You didn't finish your jambalaya, so it's understandable you'd be hungry again. It was too hot. It was so hot.
It was so hot.
It was so spicy. I was just sweating buckets.
I had to like blow my nose.
Yeah. But you know what? After you eat something super spicy, it always feels like it just rained outside. You feel cleaned out, kind of.
Yeah, it's cleaning out.
It's a nice cleansing feeling. So I was glad to eat the super spicy jambalaya my dad made. Of course, he always wants to brag that, look at me, not a bead of sweat. I can eat all this super hot stuff and not sweat. Good for you, Dad. I remember when I was a kid, my dad and I would go down to this, what was at the time Bob's Big Boy, before it became Coco's, before it became this Chinese restaurant that it is now. And he'd say the same thing at the end of every one of those breakfast meetings. We'd usually be hanging out with Brian Tasker, and he'd say, I can tell I had enough coffee because I started sweating. He'd say something, that wasn't exactly his wording. He had the same wording he'd say every time, which is, like, here come the sweats. I guess I had enough coffee, or something like that. And so I know he does have that reaction to certain things, but apparently not this particular jambalaya. Although he was done eating by the time we went in there, he may have actually been sweating when he ate it. I don't know. Then we were gonna go to this show, my friend Dave's show tonight, but I've got 8th slot SE, so we were gonna do mia is a very common sentence for me. We actually did mia, less so. Eighth slot SE, I've kind of realized just how fucking idiotically the way it is. Like, man, am I terrible at sticking with even the most tentatively voiced plan of any sort. Like, as soon as I say this is what I'm going to do, we're not doing that. It's terrible. What's wrong with me? Maybe I have an executive function disorder. Oh, wait, that's right. I'm just an ENTP. Sitting here on Capitol Hill. Yeah, well, I get to live with 8th slot SI Boba Fett. I get to experience the joy of pointlessly asking her questions about the progress of her physical symptoms, and then seeing this baffled look in her eye. Well, it's tingly. And it was more or less tingly than yesterday. Maybe about the same? Okay, you are not a good source of information. About your own body. I don't know who else I could ask. I have to rely on my own self to observe things, and to observe that, you know, I made note of her, like how it was when she was really having trouble fumbling with shit with her fingers, and she had really poor fine motor skills, and I rarely see anything that draws my attention to the fact that she's experienced any symptoms. So I feel confident that it's slowly getting better. But for Rachel, that's just a concept that's impossible to know. It requires her to sort of consciously use SI in a way that she just can't. Would it be consistent with FI polar or even other slots that FI is in the backstack to channel emotions? I don't know what channeling emotions means exactly. I mean, you feel emotions. I don't. What do you mean channel them? Where are they? Where are they coming from, and where are they going to? Do you mean take your emotions on a boat that crosses the English Channel? Well, I mean, if you were trying to invoke the feeling of an emotion without any real time cause of the emotion, isn't invoke trying to cause it, to prompt it in some way? Like, you're basically saying you're trying to cause it without causing it? I don't understand. Or you're trying to make yourself feel an emotion that you wouldn't naturally feel in this moment. Well, then you're going to use one of a couple of techniques. One is called method acting, where you try to put yourself in the shoes of the person who's feeling that, and in that way try to make yourself feel the thing you're trying to express. Or you try to imitate what the expression of that feeling normally looks like using FE, and that would not be a method acting approach. So, like, I don't need to put myself in the shoes of the lost hiker to act like one. Like, oh my God, I don't know where we are. I mean, I thought we were going this way, and then I turned and I gotta admit it, guys, I'm completely lost. I don't have to feel lost to act lost. I may not do a very good job of it, but the point is, there's no method acting there, right? So am I channeling emotions? No, I'm displaying I'm displaying the communicative aspect of emotions, basically. I'm displaying emotions for communicative purpose rather than am I revealing emotions I actually feel. Do your teeth hurt or do my gums hurt? No. How about you? Do your teeth or gums hurt? The video you did on the moral dilemma was fantastic. You mean the Porpatux dilemma? I thought it was long and dull, frankly. I was disappointed in it when I was done. I thought I could have done it better, but I tried to be as efficient as I could in relating the story, but I messed up a couple of times. And it's not a clear cut exactly. It's not I didn't delineate the moral dilemma clearly enough for the audience, I think. But thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, my experiment with the Shorts channel is done. So right now is not currently continuing to publish scheduled videos. I need to make more shorts before I can publish more. But that's fine. I figure I'll let it sit for a day or two so that the experiment is a complete thing with clear frames around it, right? And what I've discovered is that it's been quite a success. One of the videos I published today got 8,000 some views. In general, everything seems to hit this peak. Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm going to look at the data after this experiment is all the way over. Right now, it's still processing through the last ones I published, right? Because, like, what happens with the short lags behind when you publish it in varying degrees. And sometimes it gets to a certain video right away. Well, that explains it. That explains it. Andre watched it 8,000 times. That one that was 8,000 views, though, right? It was. I had two dolls. One was a swimmer doll, and the other was this guy who's looking really like, kind of like a super dorky motivational speakery kind of facial expression he's got on him. I don't know, but I have the swimmer swimming in front of him, and he says, "You're swimming, yeah." And then I push this button on the back of his head that makes his hands go like this. Why that one gets 8,000? And you know, when I have in front of me a bunch of data that is all like this, either something gets around 1,000 to 2,500 views by getting on the shorts feed, or it basically doesn't get any views at all. That's most of the data. And then there are these few intermediate ones that get in the 400 or 500 view range. And then there's this one outlier that gets 8,500, 8,600. Okay? So, excluding that 8,600 one from the equation, the real question is, there appears to be a fairly tough to break through ceiling around 2,500 views for a short. So the real question becomes, is getting to that ceiling, what is that mostly predicated on? Likes, watch time, some random combination of factors like that creates a unique algorithm. You know, I don't know exactly. And then the other question would be, how do you break through that ceiling? Big Sharma, I'm fine. I'm live streaming. I'm dedicating this live stream to the memory of Julie Thomas. It's non-monetized in honor of her death to make it not crass. And it feels like an opportunity to muse about the progression of human being through time towards death, the inevitability of an end, and I guess how you want to spend that time, you know? Well, she was, you know, she was my cousin, but there's another factor which really doesn't matter or anything, but I'll mention it anyway, I guess, which is both of my aunt and uncle's kids are adopted. So biologically, we're specifically talking about shorts though, Big Sharma. So all of my shorts are, even ones that have very few views, are likely to be well over 100% watch time. It operates according to a different metric than the normal ones do. Normal videos, there's a somewhat complicated calculation between total watch time that a video gets and percentage of the total length of the video, and I guess probably other kinds of engagement. Liana shares that she lost someone close to her recently who was only 34 years old. That's awful. Yeah, Julie was like 52. So, another interesting thing is of the shorts that hit in that 2000 range, right? We might call ceiling one. One of them had a substantially higher like ratio than all of the others. So, even though it appears, at least until we let it run its course, it may be the case that for videos who succeed up to ceiling one, that sometimes the shorts feed gives them their second run later or something, you know? But if that one that got a substantially higher thumbs ratio than any of the other ones, like was a clear winner and all the other ones were around the same, and one of them got a lot more thumbs up and some more thumbs down too, the thing is you get quite a few thumbs down on shorts. So it's like people are more likely to click a thumb one way or the other, I think. Maybe. I don't know, maybe people are just more likely to thumbs down shorts. You notice that one of your old videos got more than 6,000 views. It was about INTPs and INFJs make decisions. Why do you think that was? I mean, well, partially because it's about INTPs and INFJs. Those are two types that Google their type a lot and YouTube search it and want to watch videos about themselves a lot. So partially it's that, but probably it's just a if it's doing comparatively well, and I'm not sure it is. If it's an old video at 6,000 views, I'm not sure I'd say that's doing comparatively well to other equivalently old videos in terms of total views for one that's doing well, but there's always going to be plenty that are like at 100 views and stuff. But I do have videos that have substantially more views than that, and I mean I know what makes. I feel pretty confident that I know how to maximize my success with my long form videos, and when I'm gonna attain minimal success with my long form videos. So when I made that video of us going to the horse races, I knew before I uploaded it that it wasn't going to get very many views. Those kind of videos never do. And I also know that it won't get very many views no matter if I do it as well as I can or I kind of regret some decisions later. It doesn't make any difference. So extra work that I put into those only leads to extra satisfaction when I watch them later, not to extra views. Quality does not link in those kind of videos for me to success. Now, what does link to success in general is giving people what they want. And what people want are compact videos about personality type that give them some juicy NI takeaway about each of the types. When I make videos like that, then people get more views. There's additionally the case that by and large, shorter videos that more concisely express simpler concepts get more views. So to the extent that I want to maximize my actual success on long form videos, I should do MBTI nutshells and then Type Police videos get good views, and typing sessions get good views. Typing sessions, though, aren't something I can make. They're something that happen, right? So well, I mean, whatever it is you suggest, BK Sharma, I have plenty of examples of that. The problem is never that I've failed to do whatever anyone's suggestion is. The problem is always that I won't do only what anyone's suggestion is. Then, like God says, my absolute favorite Lasagna video is the one of him reviewing Shark Tank activated charcoal, the part where he got physical with a hammer and still have out. You know, since I read your comment about that on that video, and because I read your comment on that video, man, like God, I realized afterwards I could break it easily enough with my hands. I didn't need to use a hammer. I felt kind of silly after that. I thought it was going to be better with a hammer because, well, it was actually harder to break with a hammer than it is with your hands. I mean, and then Alien says, more relatable content that you think the viewers would want. Well, I'm currently doing this. Yes, I've considered that all over line hand, and I've made a conscious decision that I'm going to do it the way I'm doing it, which is to say, I don't want to have someone incentivized into publishing something reluctantly. And I also don't want people thinking that someone asked me today, if I agree to publish later, can I get a refund of my money? I said no. And the reason is because it's entirely up to the discretion of the client, and that therefore works both ways, that there's no linkage to that other thing. I mean, if you channel search, there's some other videos with me using power tools that are it's amazing I have all my body parts still. Let's enjoy let's enjoy some more unsolicited advice here. You can make an alternate channel for people's suggestions. Use this channel for your own way of knowledge providing. You can get new audience with new channel. I have a shorts channel, so that's my other channel. I actually do have 2 channels that are active, which is to say now it's because shorts are. It's because the reason is I can sustain those 2 channels is because shorts are a different medium. I make them in different ways. I don't use my laptop to make shorts, so it's no problem for me to have it uploaded to a different channel. And I want to make more shorts than I successfully can upload to my main channel without flooding my main channel with shorts sometimes. So I needed to have a shorts channel. But the problem with this alternate channel notion is that, first of all, it takes some time and energy in doing, unless you have a clear proven path like I do with the shorts channel to get a channel up to being monetized. And the reality is there's the one I was thinking of, Winston's mom. Thank you for finding it. Host Eric's Carpentry Fiasco Part 2. This is what happens when NE tries to manifest itself in the real world. bottom line is, I have all these videos of all these different types. And people are frequently coming in and suggesting to me that, hey, you should have different channels for these things. Well, I don't. I never have. This channel is the Eric show, you know? And it's what I want to put up when I want to put up it, when I want to put it up, and if I were to make some other channel, well, why would, like, I have a finite amount of energy to direct towards media making, and I know that many people will say that I'm doing a less than ideal job of maximizing the attention of others to my own benefit and potentially theirs. And they'd be right. But if I were giving my attention to that, then I wouldn't have all these ideas worth paying attention to. There are trade-offs, you know? If I didn't put up a shit ton of stuff, some of which was great and some of which was horrible, unfortunately, then I wouldn't be worth listening to. And if I were capable or interested or, like, I mean, obviously I'm aware of that possibility. I'm aware of the benefits of it. The problem is about knowing what you're going to do. So, doing SE is supposed to link to NI. But instead, for me, doing follows the lead of NE. So, I find myself doing some idea. Sometimes, that idea turns out to be good. Oh, turns out that NI said, yes, do this. But I wasn't listening. Sometimes it turns out to be bad. Oh, it turns out NI said, don't do that. But I wasn't listening. Either way, I wasn't listening. So, I start some idea, I'll get enamored with some silly notion, like cake or pie, enough to actually start a new channel about it. And, and then feel ridiculous as it sits there untouched for forevermore, right? This is the ENTP's curse. So, it's like, here's one thing we can all conclude for sure. What does Eric not need? More suggestions about what he could or should do differently, or more or otherwise on YouTube. It's just, everybody's got suggestions. Suggestions are like opinions. Everybody's got them. Oh, you've just asked for a throwdown, men like gods. Men like gods just lied, everybody. He told a horrible, devious, nefarious, horrible lie. He said, pie is superior to cake. You lying scoundrel. You know that's not true. You know cake is better. Don't be a scoundrel if you are a flounder. Maybe a flounder, scoundrel, would you wounder? Understood. But if you consider dressing better and maybe shaving more often, maybe a whiteboard. I got this blackboard here. This is a real blackboard. It's actually black, unlike those green ones. Green blackboards are what you might call imitation blackboards, because green is imitation black. Look, I'm spelling something. Meh, 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 meh. And we can expect this cold front to move in from the west over my head. The clouds are going to come over here. We're going to get rain right here on my shoulder. I'm a meteorologist. Hey everybody. I'm a meteorologist. I mean, I guess one of the things that I think in my response to the death of my cousin tonight is, or it struck me right now is, oh shit, like, Eric, you really seem to believe and act as though you have all the time in the world. And that, we're still in the part before they fire the starting gun, We're getting ready still. And that's fine. We can take as much time as we want getting ready. I'm 50 years old. I still feel like I'm getting ready to start things. And, I'm sure my cousin felt the same at 50, to some extent. Or maybe she didn't. I don't know. But 2 years ago, she was fine. And she wasn't thinking, I'm going to be dead in 2 years. Neither am I. She was wrong. Hopefully I'm not. One never knows, though, One never knows. Which MBTI type has a bitch resting face? Definitely ESTJ. Probably ENTJ as well. You know what pie sounds like? Too much fruit and too little cake. What type is my aunt? I think she's an ENFJ, might be an INFJ. She's one of the two. Right, as far as I can tell, I just graduated from high school. I'm ready to get started, And I graduated early, that's why I'm only 14. That's why I'm baby pig poop face. But even though I'm definitely baby pig poop face, and I am a baby, and a pig, and a poop face, it's still the case that biologically, according to old Mr. Father Time, that I'm supposedly half a century old. I guess these meat things we walk around in wear out or something. Good morning. Why, XO98, it's not morning. It's almost 11 o'clock at night. What? What, are you from a different time zone? She was probably either an ESFP. I think she was an ESFP. She was adopted. I don't mean to make it sound like that. Oh my God. I don't mean to make it. I didn't mean it to sound. That came out wrong. That came out wrong. That came out wrong. Just scratch all of that I just said. Why generally people have problem with quiet and introvert people? Why they make fun or misunderstand someone who is quiet and is minding his own business? Well, for people who are assertive, if something goes wrong, then assertive people will typically say, well, why didn't you do something? Or why didn't you say something? And so that's one way in which the world, in the form of assertive people, are ontologically assaultive to non-assertive people, is basically saying to them, why weren't you me? What's wrong with you? You needed to be me, and you weren't, and that's what's wrong with you. So I don't understand how it could possibly be that I'm 50 years old, except maybe I age in baby pig poop face years, which are different than regular years. That might explain something. I kind of thought I was just maybe starting to hit puberty, actually, because I had this really bad zit right here. And you know, I'm starting to get hair where I never had hair before, like on my ears, right here, on top of my nose. Like, why am I getting hair there? Baby pig poop face for life. Yes, I am a poop face, Sophia. I hate to tell you this, but the face you see right here is not my actual face. I have a makeup guy, his name's Bradley. Before he applies this makeup, what you will see is literally a big face-shaped turd, lumpy and brown like a poop, right? But Bradley does an amazing job with the makeup. I'm incredibly lifelike. And so yeah, when I say I'm a poop face, I literally mean my face is made out of human poo. It's not some sort of, I mean, I'm unattractive or something. Bradley, that would be insulting to Bradley. Bradley does a fabulous job. Do you know you're ruling Lagna? I think that's a typo. I think she meant lasagna. She wants to know which kind of lasagna do you rules over your life. In other words, does it have spinach in it or not? I'm a meat lasagna guy myself, but I'm not going to lie. Spinach lasagna is not nearly as bad as spinach anything else. But I'm also not going to lie about the following. Spinach and meat is okay too, but I think I'd still rather not have the spinach. This is one of the mysteries that philosophers have been musing over for many, 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 many trillions of years. Jonathan Basanti, you've read most of the great minds in history's take on this. What has been your conclusion? Lasagna with or without spinach, or both? If you want to split the difference. If you want to just try to avoid the question. How does ISTJs come off like ISTPs? Iraq. Um, they don't really. I mean, well, okay. In terms of function tests, ISTJs are one of those types that scores at least kind of medium on everything, because the things they can't score medium on, they don't really have good tests for. So in that regard, I guess they'll be similar in their trouble with extroverted intuition tests, unless you push a little bit. Fourth slot is consciously aware that they don't like being put on the spot, whereas polar is sort of unconsciously aware that they don't like being put on the spot. Lasagna. Are INFPs really considered weird? I have heard a lot about that. What's so weird about INFP? I can't understand. Maybe you're too weird to understand. Have you thought about that? I don't think anybody calls INFPs weird, really. I've never heard them called weird. I think of them as both ultra soft and ultra hard at the same time. Like, they're mostly all soft, but when you get to a hard part, it's absolutely stiff hard. Unlike, you know, FE types are more likely to have indications of hardness before they have actual hardness, sort of like layers of warning pretend hardness. Lasagna with spinach, yes to white lasagna, no to red lasagna? Okay, that wasn't the question I asked. Or you mean, I see what you're saying, only if spinach is okay with the white lasagna but not with the red lasagna? Is that what you're saying? Because I've never had white lasagna before. Does such a thing exist? And if so, why? Is it really lasagna? Isn't it really a different dish? I think it is. And I like my new name, E-Rock. Yeah, people would call me weird. People probably wouldn't call INFPs weird. They'd call them quirky, maybe. You know. For example, maybe that one girl who was on Full House who thinks she's an old lady and wears big bunchy sweaters and is the twin of that other girl. Maybe she's INFP. That's kind of INFP style, you know. Mary Kate and that other one. Yeah, right. They're either soft, like fully soft, or they're rock hard. Whereas there are many more degrees of that. The thing is, I think ENTPs, I don't know if ENTPs in general, but definitely me, I'm very soft, ultimately. It's easy to make me be genuine and authentic by being genuine and authentic yourself. Uh, I'm not. I've never had to really learn how to control my emotions because even when I'm mad, I don't say stupid shit. I just may say it stupidly, you know? Like I may scream it, but it still makes perfectly good sense. From fully soft to rock hard in under 6 seconds. Chicks dig INFPs. You sure about that? It sounds a little bit like a lack of foreplay. And from what I understand from the books, I've never asked one, of course, because who cares, but just joking. Just joking, everybody. But apparently, girls like that. Foreplay. It's like, okay, what makes it foreplay? Because it's before, right? Before what? Before penetration. Means they want you to take a long time to get around to shit. That's what translates of the word foreplay. Take a long time to get around to stuff. It's a euphemism. It's a euphemism for inefficiency in intercourse. Okay? Foreplay is how girls euphemistically express inefficiency in intercourse. We could get this done a lot faster, I'm sure, if you left me entirely in charge of it. It doesn't need to take nearly this long. Okay? I'm sure we could be in and out of this whole process in like 5 minutes, just... I mean, what? It's not like neither of us haven't got other things to do. Right? Here, let me get you a piece of lasagna. You want spinach? Or no spinach? You do want spinach? Okay, never mind. I don't want to fuck you anymore. No, girl, now it's going to take a long ass time for you to get laid. Long time. Now that I know you're a spinach eater. Well, go ahead, eat your spinach lasagna. You're going to have to brush your teeth for 45 minutes afterwards to get rid of that spinach stank. It's going to infuse every pore, every cell of your body with its wicked, evil, green, smushy stinkiness. Foreplay is for women. Have sex with a man if you want to be a real man, instead of one of those feminine soy boy heterosexuals. It's good thinking, Oliver. Good thinking. I couldn't agree more. That's why Rachel and I became a gay couple, actually. We came out of the closet. So. No, you've mistaken foreplay, Jonathan Basanti, for making lasagna. That's different. Those are different. You shouldn't know. Okay, that's screaming because that's why it does matter if you use a woman or lasagna noodles. Turn off the oven or open the door. Just let her out of there. Okay, because she's not supposed to be. You're supposed to boil her first. That's why. You forgot to boil her. It was gonna come out all crunchy and weird and gross. So anyway, please keep your sordid talk of human reproduction out of the entirely separate discussion of the presence of spinach in lasagna, which is something that humanity has long needed to resolve. I don't think any of us can dispute that. How long have we asked this question without any meaningful resolution? People keep putting spinach in lasagna, even though we should all agree, morally, that it's a bad idea. We should, right? Which MBTI type makes a person don't like most of people at all and is happy with one friend and one girlfriend, don't want to get interrupted, and don't give a damn about anyone? I mean, me, kind of. I told him no. I'm not available until tomorrow. I told him that. He doesn't want to listen to me. These people do not want to take no for an answer. I'm not going to because I have this point set aside for other things. And I don't like being bugged about doing this or the other thing. I guess I'll use my cousin's death as an excuse. He just ignores my freaking words. 7:30 tomorrow morning? It's very unlikely I will be up at 7:30 in the morning. Period. But text me around then if you want. Period. If I am up, fine. These people. Well, it's like, oh, I got talked about my paper today. And I'm like, no, I'm going to the show with my friend's band. Of course, we didn't go because I never know what I'm going to end up doing. No matter how much. I really wanted to and was planning to. And then that guy, Stuff Doer, you guys remember him? He thinks he's an INTP, but he's definitely not. um, he called me and like started a conversation, and then I made it into making a video with him, and I'll probably publish it, I guess. I don't know what type he is, but he's definitely not an INTP. Apparently he tested TI polar, but he still says, he acknowledges that he did, but still says he's INTP. So I don't, I don't know what to tell you about that. It's like, well, at least you don't give me any pushback on that you tested TI polar. He's just basically, and he doesn't really try to say, but I don't agree. I'm arguing that that's not definitive. He just doesn't address it. Anyway, whatever. He's nice though. He's good at engaging me in a conversation. He knows how to get me to find something kind of interesting. But I tired of that one fairly quickly because they were all drunk. So, or at least had been drinking. What's the best gift you received and why? I mean, the one that first comes to mind is this tripod and light that holds this camera right here. My daughter gave me the tripod and the light, and a couple other little things that I use a lot in making stuff now that I didn't have before. Another tripod and this thing here. So as far as useful gifts, these were the most useful gifts I can think of recently that I've integrated super into my life. Another one that comes to mind is this green screen that Winston's mom gave me. This is one of the best gifts because it's made a huge difference, you know. Ultimately, although not really in measurable results, maybe, but in enabling me to slowly improve production values, or at least be a little bit less abrasively half-assed about it. I really like this blue hat she sent me too. That's one of the best gifts I've gotten for sure. I mean, the thing is, what are some other good gifts that I've gotten? Well, I like the Typology stuff that Winston's mom sent us as well. Winston's mom sent us a lot of presents. She sent us some St. Patrick's Day stuff that I am not currently wearing, but I've no doubt that there will someday come an occasion. I keep all costumey stuff because there will someday come an occasion when I want to use it for a video or something, you know. Am I feeling sleepy? I'm not super especially. I did have a nice nap today. I got a decent amount of sleep last night. And yet I am sort of sleepy. And, well, I'm not feeling especially put a handle on shitty, you know? Like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna get this done, that done, the other thing done, and yeah, I'm not feeling like that. So, but maybe I will get something done. Who knows? It's impossible for me to say. These things are the mysteries of life that one never knows the answers to. Things like, how many ghosts does it take to eat an entire chocolate cake? We can hypothesize, we can theorize, we can investigate. Can we ever really know? No, we can't. Because that's one of the mysteries that nature doesn't want us to find out. Okay, then I'm going to go with the gift of laughter. If we're going with that kind of gift, I'm going for the gift of laughter. That's the best gift I've ever received. I believe that laughter is our future. Make us laugh and help us find the way. Show us all the laughter they possess inside. You know what else I think? I think that I am a man who will fight for McDonald's. I am the man who is ordering Coke, cold and refreshing. McDonald's will beckon and I'll do it all for refreshing Coke. I did it all for Coke. I am a man who will wait at McDonald's. The original lyrics of that Peter Cetera song, of course. I am a man who will wait at McDonald's. I am the hero that you're dreaming of. I did it all for the glory of Coca-Cola. Thanks. I've always wanted a Grammy. I've always said, boy, if there's one thing in life that would make my life complete, it rhymes with mammy. But it's not Sammy. What could it possibly be? The answer, much to your surprise, is Grammy. But with the music industry's classy dealing with artists and honest meritocracy, I can't help but desperately hope one day to attain their formal approval to manifest into award shape as per the Grammy, Hollywood's most respected award. Are you sure that's Hollywood's most respected award? Yes, absolutely certain. Everybody wants a Grammy. Nobody touches your mammy. These are two rules that are universal truths. Okay. So now it's time. Now it's your time to shine, okay? Now you're going to have an opportunity to really shine. Don't you want to shine? Don't you want to shine like an angel? It's your turn to shine, okay? Why is it your turn to shine? Because you're going to help me come up with good ideas for shorts. Isn't that fun? What a fun, exciting thing for you. Oh my God. This is such an honor. Such an honor for you to get to help me do this. So I'm going to show you a person, and you can help me come up with things for them to say. Let's see. Who are we going to start with? Well, let's just start with regular Mindy. Things that Mindy might say. Here's Mindy. As you can see, she's got on a cute little top with looks like grapefruits and lemons and shit on it. She's smiling. She's got pink lipstick on. So, I wonder what Mindy's gonna have to say. For some reason, I want her to say, "I said stop screaming at the hose." But okay, obviously we've got a problem here, don't we? Yes. Mindy's too far away from the camera. I need to move this little arrangement I have here up closer. I allowed this. There we go. Now we're cooking with gizass. That's what people in the hip-hop nation call gas. Sit still, Mindy. Don't be difficult. Okay, there. Where's her cousins? But I'll show you some other people you can choose from. We've also got Swimmy. Swimmy is a swimmer, as you can see. And you're welcome to come up with dialogue for any of these characters. We've also got, this is Viper. His name might be Greg or whatever first, but he called himself Viper. Are you ready? For an adventure? Of laughter? Living? I'm pushing pause in between each one and moving her a little bit, you know. Loving and joy? Now I have to edit that. These things don't just make themselves. No, they require work, effort, thinking, feeling, trying, meaning things, making up random shit, etc. Hey, I got 27 likes on my arson joke. That's pretty good. I liked telling arson jokes, but eventually I got burnt out. It's about as short as concise as I could make it. I determined.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Ready? Are you ready?
Add one thing. Are you ready? Now, we'll add another thing. This is how you make shorts.
Are you ready? For an adventure? For an adventure? Adventure? For an adventure?
You gotta try to
For an adventure?
trim it tight, you know, so it all goes together smooth. How's your day been, Jonathan Basanti? Get some sleep?
Are you ready for an adventure of laughter, laughter, of laugh, laughter, of laugh, of laugh, of laughter, of laughter, of laughter, of laughter,
Of laughter, of laughter. So if you have any, well, it doesn't, I mean, I don't know. I've yet to determine the answer to that, Jonathan Basanti. I have to, I do think that to the extent that something's got some edginess to it, it may incur more thumbs downs, but I'm not sure to what extent that harms the meow of it, you know?
of laughter, living, living, living,
Okay, you think the dolls should get on their period and discuss it? Have a discussion about the woman's menstrual cycle? It's a good suggestion.
of laugh, loving and joy, love, loving and joy, loving and joy,
Alright, so let's see what this one came out like.
Are you ready for an adventure of laughter, living, loving and joy?
I messed it up a little bit, you know?
For an adventure of laughter, living,
Because of
loving
laughter.
and joy?
That
Are
darn
you
laughter.
ready?
Let's see.
Are you ready for an adventure of laughter? Are you ready? Of laughter, living, of laughter, laughter, of
Mm-hmm. And then, I'm going to push this here. Now, I get it.
laughter, living, living,
Just give me one more second. Okay. I'm not going to be doing this for much longer. Hold on.
living, loving and joy, loving and joy, joy,
Alright, now let's check it.
are you ready for an adventure of laughter, living, loving and joy? Are you ready for an adventure of laughter, living, loving and joy?
Now I made
Are
laughter
you
too
ready
long, right?
For an adventure of laughter, living, loving and
That's fine. It's good enough. So I'll upload this one. So you can see that it can actually take quite a while to make one short. It's surprisingly. It can be a surprisingly meticulous medium to work in, you know, and the exception would be to some extent. Can I buy a vowel? I'd like to solve the puzzle now that I've wasted that cash. Okay, well, I've got the answer to the puzzle, Pat, but Are there any vowels I could buy? I just really enjoy just buying vowels, you know. I collect them. Collect them in my spare time. So, you know, the mermaids seem to perform well. There may be this reality that some of it has to do with which characters are in it. Like, this mermaid performed well. A lot of the mermaids ones did better than the average. Duck Girl seemed to perform well. Maybe because she's a I don't know, she's got kind of a immediately understandable character, which is kind of Eeyore plus Quacks, I guess. It's not easy being that girl. Quack. So it's like, you know, there's nothing subtle or confusing about her character, really. I could incorporate Duck Girl here. Duck Girl could be standing back here, maybe. And Mindy could say, like, "Hey, Duck Girl, do you wanna go in the hot tub?" "I can't. I'll get vaginal blood in the water. It's that time of the month. Quack." Well, and then here's another interesting thing, Jonathan Vasanti, about Ken, is that Ken with the head on him, saying things like, "Hey girl," and "How'd you like to take a dip in these deep blue pools?" Those ones get a high like ratio, but they don't necessarily, they haven't, well, I don't know, they're kind of late in the process, so it may be they yet haven't gotten their turn in line, so to speak. We'll have to see. So I got Mermaid, I got Mindy, I got Duck Girl there. There's Ken, with and without the head. So, where's his head? Where's your head, Ken? This isn't Ken, though. I think this guy might be named Gary, I'm not sure, but I don't think of him as really being a Ken. He doesn't really look like a Ken. He looks more like a Gary. You're already bored of making Typology videos? No, we probably will again shortly, soon enough. There was a bunch of controversy over the last one, or one of the last ones, last couple ones. So, you know, I don't know. Somebody said I look like a Gary today at work. What do you think that means? Today at work, someone said I look like a Gary. Should I be offended? You're not trying to be mean, but I love sentences that begin with that. I mean, beats the shit out of me. I have no idea who watches these videos. What I'm saying is, I was able to accomplish my entire month's view total with my shorts channel in 5 days. So the amount of views I get in a month on the main channel, I can get in 5 days of uploading little shorts like that. I have no idea who the audience is. I also got 100 subs in those 5 days. So it's like, what? I don't know, but if you care at all about results, then if you want to be giving me advice, the advice should always be make a shit ton more of those little shorts. Don't you bink off at me. Quack. No offense, Eric, but fuck you. Look, I'm not trying to be mean, but you're so ugly and stupid. Thank God you're not trying to be mean. I'd hate to hear what you were like if you were trying to be mean. My goodness. Okay, so this will be a good one. Ones that include references to nudity seem to potentially do well. So this one, like Tiffany does well usually in a lot of these things, I guess. Don't be sorry. That's true. No offense, but is a great short way to make a good way to make short quips. Look, no offense and nothing personal, but you are deeply offensive personally. So, oh, Leaky Leaky Locky. Leaky Leaky Locky is my favorite one of these characters. I mean, the other thing is, the reason I do these is because I like to make these. It allows me to actually have utility for the kind of completely nonsense meows. No, I'm not. You're wrong. What? I don't get what you're saying now. I'm confused. I like doing little things like this. I think they're funny. I can watch them, at least once or twice and laugh or whatever and think, oh, that's cool. I'm glad I did that, But, almost I do so many things that I want to do that seem fun that ultimately end up being of no practical benefit, right? So it's nice that, for whatever reason, the shorts feed seems to be open to this. It's not like all kinds of shorts I've made have proved to be capable of getting on the feed. Hey, Leaky Leaky Lucky, you've got to help me. I need your advice. Okay, listen, first you gotta put some clothes on. Oh, Leaky Leaky Lucky here. The reason I like her is because she's got a Mexican accent. Yes, I had the Mexican accent. And she didn't take no shit from anybody. No, I don't take no shit from nobody. And she's got this green present. Yes, this is my green present. It's not yours. Get your own present. She's cool, Time dilation. Okay, look. You need to move your hand? Oh, I'm sorry. There, is that better? Yes. But you still need to put some clothes on. Oh. Oh, Ken. Stop trying to touch a Leaky Leaky Locky. Okay, I don't know who this guy is, but if he keeps trying to hold my hand, I'll rip his arm out of his socket. Leaky Lucky's kind of a sassy girl. You want them to make lasagna? Anticipate a coming season of dilated time and women all in disarray. I was trying to teach you how to properly place your tongue to roll the R, but you couldn't do it at all. You mean like Chupacabra? That's a pretty big roll, huh? Now I'm speaking Spanish. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Yeah, 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 yeah. These are some fish. Fish, 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 fish. Las pescados, las peces, las pescados, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Ay, 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 ay. These are pescados. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. So I think probably if I were to really do an analysis of the data here, I discovered that Tiffany is the most successful character, and you know, like in one of the shorts, Tiffany and Leaky Lucky, she goes, "Oh my God, is that a present for me?" Leaky Lucky says, "No, it's my present, you stupid white girl. Stupid naked white girl." And she walks away. That one did pretty well, you know. I'm gonna make burritos. I'm out of tortillas though, so I'm gonna use paper. I mean, I think she should say that to Duck Girl, but she should say, "I'm gonna use your clothes. But I'm wearing them, quack." Oh, Duck Girl. Poor Duck Girl. You're always the victim of so much unfairness in the world. People always ask me why I'm like this. It's because my dad had sex with a duck. This is Tennis Tanya. Hi guys, I play tennis. This is my racket, and I like to raise my hand. I'm waiting for you to call on me. Who wants to call on me? Ask me a question. Anyone? No, Tennis Tanya, go sit down. Look at me, I'm ready to fight. Pew 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 pew. Look at me, I'm ready to battle. Pew 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 pew. Look at me, here I come. Fighting, fighting, you better run. Pew pew. Oh my God, did that guy have a gun? Was he like an army man or something? Yeah, that was an army man. An army man, Tiffany. Get Viper to sing a children's song? Okay. I love you. You love me. That's a good idea, Jonathan Mazzanti. I'll have Viper sing that to the children. The children will love it. I'm confident. It'll be a real hit with the kids. Viper's always popular with the kids because children love things that have tough names. Viper has a tough name, ergo, children love him. Oh, there are my cigarettes. Silly Eric, you got them as the foundations for your little platform. Talk about silly. That's not gonna work. What? What are you doing? You silly goose. I am so silly sometimes. Nobody knows why. Not even the very wisest people in the world. And they know lots of shit too. So that tells you something. Because people don't want to watch those. I actually did that. Alien 60. This is the funny thing when people ask me why don't I do meow. I almost certainly have. I did that. There's one video of one of the dolls saying defining validity. People don't want to watch those videos. They're not interested in learning things with my shorts, you know. They're interested in maybe they're investing like 6-7 seconds for possibility of a cheap laugh, you know. Okay, I get that. You're not looking to change the world with your YouTube short viewings. Alright, you're going to need to move back here, buddy. You're too close. Move back. Move it back. Move it back. Move it all the way back. I don't want any shit from anybody, alright? Just watch out. I've had enough. Move it back. Just move it on back. Just move it back there. Just move it right on back. Okay, here we go. I love you. You love me. We're happy. Try this. Family. Okay, now let's see how it edits out. I think it's going to be actually a good video once it edits together. I love you. Love you. Love me. I love you. You love you. Love you. What's usually open at midnight? Denny's? Waffle House? Norm's? You love me. Where me. You love me. You love me. We're happy. Where you love me. There. Now, the next one. I'm not going to put family on the end of it, though.
I love you. You love me. We're happy. I love you. You love me.
I'm just going to put the first two, actually. Just going to put the first two. That's a good short.
I love you. You love me. I love you. You love me. I love you.
I love you, you love me. It's good. That might be successful. Good idea. I like it. We do have Farmer Boys, but it's not open that late. It's open until 10 or 11 at most. It's almost midnight now. Unless it's no, it's not Saturday. It's not Friday or Saturday. It's Thursday. What's the best meat for a sandwich? I'm gonna say roast beef. 31% of people do. What do you know? I was watching earlier today, in part because when Rachel and I went to the races, they have this cool statue of Zenyatta, and Zenyatta, she ran the horse race that I remember more than any other horse race I've ever seen, which was the Breeders' Cup final, in which she was undefeated. She was, I think, 18-0 at the time. She was the only female horse in the Breeders' Cup Classic, which is the toughest race in the Breeders' Cup. All the other horses were male. Mind That Bird was in that race, and a couple other big name horses, and she came from the very back of the pack, 5 fucking wide out of the turn, and ran down all those horses. And the crazy thing about it is, in the call that Trevor Denman makes, before the turn, she's like dead last, like way off the pack, right? A good 10, 12, 15 lengths back. And Trevor Denman says, Zenyatta's starting to move, but she's got a lot of ground to make up. It would take a super horse, or she'd really be a super horse. And then, she gets stuck in traffic coming around the rail, in between like the third and fourth horse up from the rail. She gets kind of boxed in there, and she's got to kind of pull back to back around this horse to get to the outside. Finally, she gets about 5 wide, and she's loose now, and she starts pulling them. She starts pulling them in. She starts dragging them back, and Trevor Denman says in the call of it, but Zenyatta coming on the outside. Zenyatta. Bye, Sophita. Thanks. Appreciate you being here. And as she's taking down the last horse, but it's okay. It's a good strategy. But see, Alien 60. This is important to note. It's a good strategy if I don't care about the people in the live stream very much. it makes for a boring live stream. I'm not really talking to them. I'm busy doing something else, right? It makes for a bad live stream for me as a consumer potentially of a live stream later on. I'm gonna have to skip past those parts. They're boring. So it doesn't ultimately work. I could do a little bit of it, which I'm glad I did a little bit of it, because now I've kind of got this alternate, easier to set up, easier to take down stage that I could do these things on. So I can easily enough do this while I'm watching TV if I'm willing to mute, like pause the show I'm watching, do one, and resume the show while I'm editing or something like that, maybe. But multitasking is a challenge, you know. There's no true multitasking in life. You can delegate tasks to other automation things. Like you can delegate some tasks to the computer, but I'm not really you multitasking. I mean, there's always a trade-off, right? Like, so this live stream attains on varying degrees of quality according to my own personal metric of how good it is from a consumer's perspective, okay? And then it attains on this other metric of how exciting it was for the people who were here, how lively it was, how much conversation there was going on in the chat, how much I read their thing, how much they were engaged in the conversation. And then there's this other factor of what gets the most views, what gets the most attention. So of all of my live streams in recent memory, the one that got the most attention and the most views was the one entitled Eric's Mad at Melissa Talks. Because that's drama, that's, I don't know, what do you want to call it? It's the promise of something that's emotionally engaging and not too dry. And ultimately, people don't like stuff that's too dry. I mean, what people really want is a predictably emotionally satisfying environment, right? They want to know that they're in safe hands emotionally. That if you're going to see a show, that the performer you're going to see isn't an amateur who's going to do some cringy stuff that's going to make the performance awkward and make you wish you hadn't seen it at all. When you're listening to, say, a podcast or something, that the person doing the podcast is going to keep the talking going and keep the interesting conversation going in a way that's engaging to the listener. And then, of course, what exactly the listener is engaged by depends a lot on what type of person they are. So I found myself clicking on a link, I don't remember why, for something titled podcast, right? It had podcast in the name of it. And this guy was very much, I guess what you would call a good podcaster. So he continued talking and discussing a given topic. He was not engaging in the chat like I do to varying degrees. Instead, it was a podcast that it may have been a premiere or something, but it wasn't responsive in a live sense. Regardless, it was. I can see how somebody might enjoy having that kind of on in the background because of the steadiness of the flow of the banter, plus the consistent inclusion of clear emotional cues with the language. So it was a lot of, well, here's what happened, blah, 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 blah. And, frankly, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and so it was a lot of discussion of I don't even remember what the topic was, which is weird because I just listened to it like yesterday or something. But it was so bland, the topic in general, or so like he approached it in such a bland fashion that it didn't make any impression on me. But I got the idea that this guy's producing easy to listen to, like, censor talk, right? So the issue, of course, always boils down to the same thing. There are multiple considerations, and only some of them link to objective metrics of success, which is to say, more views, more money, more whatever. But only, but so I have got a variety of standards that I want to attain against, only some of which will externally validate as against objective standards. So it is the case that I could have made that horse racing, Rachel and my trip to the horse track video better than it was. It was a little long. It was a little under-edited. But even if I had made it better, it wouldn't have done any better. It might have gotten a better like ratio, but it wouldn't have gotten more views. And Alien 60, that's the sort of reality that comes along with who I am as well. It's like, depending on how you define it, there are many, many instances of me, quote unquote, catching lightning in a bottle. And there are at least as many instances of me failing to do so. But if you're somebody who's looking for stuff that pops and you have some patience, then this is a good place to be potentially, because some of these streams really pop. Like when I listen to them afterwards, I go, "Wow, that's an entertaining stream," you know. I mean, the thing is, that's what you're just saying here, Alien 60, is ignoring the nature of TE for what it is. TE always links to a goal, a clearly defined goal. So, and it always links to clarity about what one wants. So even if I were to use better TE in some regard, and I'm not sure you really mean TE, the thing is, TE is figuring out how to do something. My TE has been absolutely adequate for me to figure out how to do all the things I need to figure out how to do in order to do the things I wanted to do. Some of my videos have been very, very substantial productions in Premiere Pro with multiple audio tracks and a bunch of other things. And I do those to the best of my ability. Have I figured out how to use those apps and to do the things I need to do? Yes. Did the videos necessarily come out better? No. Sometimes, it's... The linkage is weak. The linkage is weak to any particular TE aspect of it, you're saying, and outcomes. So, and again, the most important thing to remember is if I were to try to follow any given TE user's set of instructions perfectly, and I did, the issue isn't whether I can do it like that or do one of those things, but whether I will be just that. In other words, it's not a TE problem, it's an NI problem. And you can't get any of the parts of me that are good without getting this accompanying NI problem. They go together. They come as a package deal. To say, well, you should be more NI. Well, I am in general trying to get this channel to uphold on NI values better. But for me, that's not going to be making the channel singular in its purpose or thing. Instead, it's going to be trying to gradually get better at making examples of meow that are more concise and more resonant. And that's consistent with my general desire to make things that are artistically better. Well, again, it's not TE, because Remember, Alien 60, TE is an interface function. It's figuring out how to do things. The way I'm doing things is not, I'm not doing it because I don't know how to do it some other way, right? Now, if you want to talk about TE just as sort of a value reference point, you might say TE values efficiency or effectiveness, but what that implies again is that TE values attaining what you want in ways that take less, that require less total attentional resources from you rather than more. But the issue is never, it's rarely I struggle to figure something out, but rather that I don't want to be constrained by that goal framework. That goal framework commits your process of action for some period of time forward. But I always want to be able to shift gears and change directions. So why is it consistently the case that TE people tend to look for objective factors, money, view, stats? Well, I think in general TE people, be they SI or NI, see YouTube through a different frame of reference than I do. So I see it as me getting to be me in a place that's appropriate for me. And they see it as something you do for some purpose. And so if you're going to do it for some purpose, well then you have to have clarity about it. It needs to have a purpose, right? But if I'm YouTubing because it's an environment that enables me to be me most comfortably compared to alternatives, compared against alternatives, you know? So in this case, not prioritizing what appears to you to be me not prioritizing efficiency is instead me prioritizing me instead of you. Right? The reason I'm not you is because I'm me. And me means I'm constantly extroverting intuition. I'm refusing to be just one thing because that's too constraining. I'm doing as much of the SE part as I can or need to or feel like I ought to before starting the NE part. So in other words, it's really, if you're going to talk about either TE or SE, it's more of an SE thing. Like, I know how I can maximally make a video ready for consumption. I need to put, you know, obviously, if I want to maximally attain results from a video, I would always do a good thumbnail. I take a lot of time making a good thumbnail. I'd make sure to edit things shorter always, because the more clean and tight and NI a thing is, the better. But I have a limited amount of energy that I want to put into that because I've got another idea I want to do, and by and large, it doesn't turn out that the benefits of more editing seem to justify the added time. I mean, it's so funny to hear people persist in saying these sort of things, because there's a couple of things that seem to be not understood. Well, Alien 60, that's not true either. So, number one thing that people don't understand is whatever they're saying about my channel is true and not true. Okay? That's a pretty wholesome one, Jonathan. So I've gone through stretches of time where I made great thumbs or put a lot of time into making thumbs, stretch of time where I didn't put much time into making thumbs, stretch of time again where I did put time into making thumbs. You know, I've gone through different phases of creative energy on the channel. If you happen to land in a pool of one of it, you might intuit that this is what the channel's all about and be wrong. So the thing is, again, what mostly this boils down to is there's a fundamental perception in some TE types that I'm doing it wrong and or could be doing it better. What they always mean is, you're not looking at it through my frame, and if I were the one who was framing this, then it would look very different. Well, that's true, but you seem to be missing the point, right? That when I tell you, for me, YouTube is a place where I can be me more effectively and naturally than I heretofore have been able to be me because of the nature of the ecosystem. You answered, well, you should factor yourself in. You should include yourself as a factor. No, it's not a factor. What I'm saying is, YouTube is not instrumental for me. It's an end in itself. So earlier in that conversation with Stuff Doer, he asked me a couple of questions, and I had trouble answering one of them, and I had no trouble answering the other. And two questions were this: what do you want for the channel, and what do you want for yourself? I couldn't answer the question, what do I want for the channel? It was incredibly difficult for me to answer. The question, what do I want for myself, was easy to answer. Nothing. I'm perfectly happy the way I am. I mean, it is true that I want the future to be different than the present, but it's a mistake to say that I'm wanting it anyway, It wasn't me who walked into the bar with the priest and rabbi. Quack. Whoever walked into the bar with the priest and rabbi was a different duck than me, okay? Quack. When I was in grade school, Duck Duck Goose was a nightmare. Quack. Kind of like Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson plus a duck. I always hated playing me goose in elementary school. Quack. Why did the duck cross the road? So I could answer this question. Quack. That's a pretty good one. I could do a bunch of duck crow ones, it's true. One of the problems with being a duck girl is you always get stuck with the bill. Maybe that, Clubby NTP. Whatever's cheap and convenient. We've also got this one. This is a girl. One of the shorts, she said, "What do you mean? What do you mean I'm underdressed for the funeral? Aunt Judy loved green." Because she's got a green bathing suit on. I also have her say, "Whenever I greet customers, I give them a big wave and say, 'Hey there!'" She's cheerful, So I was walking home from the bus station, and this ragged gentleman said, "Please, ma'am, I haven't eaten all day." I said, "Good for you. I'm glad you're watching your weight." That's the kind of thing this girl says. She's like suburban white privileged girl or whatever. So I said to Judy, "What do you mean they don't speak English in Mexico?" Things like that. I tried to go in there, but there were a bunch of Chinese people. It was like, ding dong, ding dong. She's like that girl from UCLA. Don't you hate it when you're in the library and you're about to get an epiphany and then it's like, ding dong, ding dong. You guys know what girl I'm talking about? He might still, that's the thing. Jonathan Basanti is, from what I understand from the Tekkit realm anyway, and who knows, when you upload a video to YouTube, it gets assigned a random number in an ever expanding line. And then once it gets assigned that number, it always moves forward, but it could be at the beginning or end of that line, right? So if it seems possible to me anyway, and I've experienced something equivalent on the shorts I've published on the main channel, is that sometimes you might get on the feed like a week after you published it. This guy came up to me and said he was homeless. I was like, why don't you just buy a house then? God. Or, okay, I don't mean to be mean, but all these homeless people need to buy houses already. Yeah, that's this girl. That's this girl's character. What do you mean they were mad? Did you remember to smile? Damn it, Eric, I want instant gratification that's insufficient. Yeah, I know. I don't like it either. It's a tough reality. Oh my god. We made such a mess at this party last night. Maybe we should hire some Mexicans. This looks like a lot of cleanup. The key to instant gratification is incessant gratification. See, that's a good quote right there, because that's how I feel too. I want incessant gratification. I want instant gratification all the time. So that's why, you upload a shit ton of them. Who was your favorite band in the 80s? I mean, in the early 80s, it was probably like, Men at Work, when I was in like 6th grade, 5th grade. As I got older, I didn't really have any favorite 80s bands per se. English Beat I liked. Like, what did I listen to a lot in the 80s? I listened to a lot of different stuff. Remembering that in the 80s, there wasn't any Spotify, all that kind of shit. You had the radio, and you had cassette tapes in your car, and you had LP records at your house. So, I listened to stuff that wasn't necessarily from the 80s. I had cassette tapes with like the Beatles on them. I did make like mixtapes and stuff for my car. I made a fair number of those. and I listen to the radio, but the albums I listened to weren't really of a lot of 80s bands. I mean, I did have some like heavy metal bands that I had records to and listened to sometimes, like Crocus, Ballroom Blitz, and what else? Like Black Sabbath records and stuff. Those were from the 70s, really, you know? I had Led Zeppelin records, also 70s. I liked the Cars a lot. They were 80s. I liked I liked a lot of the hit songs and stuff from the 80s. I just didn't buy a lot of records. Like I never bought any Duran Duran records or anything. I liked the Pixies a lot and Billy Bragg a lot in the later 80s. And I've decided that I'm a venti grande demisexual. That's a gay couple. You have Candio on vinyl. I mean, I think I had the Go-Go's on vinyl. Yeah. Vacation ever gonna be that I did have a Cyndi Lauper record, I think. Did I do the dance club scene? Well, when I was in high school, I graduated in '89. So, no, basically. When I was in high school, we did things, but it was usually involved drinking if we were going to like do a weekend thing or whatever, and that meant we had to go someplace not out in the world, really. Like we'd go to someone's house where his parents weren't home, or their parents were gone, or whatever. Or sometimes we'd go to like a kegger, or sometimes we'd go to you're not class of '87 Club ENTP, my ass. Maybe 2087. You're the class of 2087. So, you know, and it was back in the day when they were, like, it's not the case now around here as far as I can tell, but back in the day, there were plenty of places you could go that were outside where you wouldn't run afoul of anything or anyone. You're 52. There's no way you're 52. It's gotta be bullshit. That's got to be bullshit. De Peru de Crusher. I remember that name. Sounds very familiar to me. Oh, I believe you. I never really watched your videos before. I just saw you, I saw one of your music things and I was like, oh, this is me. This is how I must look too. I'm not afraid at all to film in a store, I see. I don't know why I'm not getting any audio out of this. There's no explanation as to why. I'm liking some comments on your channel here. I still don't hear any sound though, I'm not sure why. No, I believe you. You're born in 69 now. It's funny, I never even looked at your shit that much. I thought you were really probably 28 or something. I've been thinking that this whole time, dude. Isn't that ridiculous? Oh my god. I've been totally had this wrong picture of you in my head this whole time. If I can get my sound to work, I don't know why the hell my sound's not working. I was just playing the video and I couldn't hear a goddamn thing. I saw you walking through the store and I checked my audio settings. It is on the right output. So I'm not sure. Could you guys hear it through here? Well, I'm glad to see that this not growing up phenomenon is it's not unique to me, obviously. You're not grown up either. You're totally just as not grown up as me. And you're even older than I am. So, I mean, people who don't think typology, look at this guy and me, you know? It's like between the two of us, there's nary an adult in the room. Me neither. Probably need to pee. Fuck you out of that, right? I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. So, my cousin's one of your year mates. Was. Now she's dead. From dying. She had excessive non-living disorder. Eventually caught up with her. We still haven't ever even had a conversation, have we, Club B? Have you and I ever actually talked to each other? I know we've communicated via like comments and stuff. I will. I'll watch some of your videos for sure. You know, my initial reaction to your channel is just like, okay, that guy's definitely, like, when I looked at, yeah, I know, I was, but what am I gonna do later? What a silly, I need to learn to stop thinking I know what I'm gonna do later, okay? I still want to do that. But, you know, we both like to sort of keep things in a conditional realm of sorts, and, yeah. Well, now that my cousin is dead, I can finally start doing things. You know, it's amazing how really I've been waiting to be free from that heavy burden of worry. Of course, the truth is, despite this coming up periodically, for the past year or so, it hadn't come up in a couple of weeks or at least or something. So when my dad announced, turn it off for a second, because we were watching the basketball game. Then my dad said, turn it off for a second. And then he was looking at his phone. He said, Julie died tonight. And I didn't know what to say. I was just silent. We all were. And then after we were silent for a while, not really knowing what to say, my dad said, well, we've had our moment of silence for Julie. You can turn the TV back on now. But, I ended up muting it again. We ended up talking about it more and stuff, but none of us knew quite what to... I mean, Rachel cried, and my dad and I looked somber. I mean, it's like it's one of those things where you don't really know how to process it exactly, because things have always been one way. Things are going to be a different way in the future, but you're waiting for them to change. When they finally do, you've mentally prepared yourself to some extent for this new reality, and yet you've also not formally switched over to this new reality, Well, it's okay, CJ. It's she and I weren't especially close or anything. The vast majority of my memories of her and thoughts about her are from when I was age 18 or younger. So I did see her quite a bit in my teenage years, and I saw her quite a bit as a child, but I haven't really seen her much as an adult. Last time I talked to her was not that long before she got sick on the phone. But, once she got sick, the occasional updates from my dad made it very clear to everybody that, okay, what started out as an announcement that Julie had a melanoma, a skin cancer, that I think both Rachel and I said, okay, well, but my dad sort of treated it as though it were more serious than I would have expected. Anyway, it rapidly progressed through, moved into different parts of her body, into her spine, into her brain, and so it's not like the doctors there was ever any discussion of let's look forward to remission, right? There was never any of that stuff, right? Anyway, so from pretty early on, we knew that this was going to kill her. It was just a matter of exactly when. We had a couple of occasions already in which it was like, heads up, it may happen tonight. But it's been a while. She kind of had before she died, So there's also been a couple of those. But maybe watch out for my Uncle Lonnie and for my dad's friend Richard, both of whom were on this kind of mutual death watch with my cousin. In terms of those larger family stories of mine, this is the change that marks a movement in slabs that have been stuck in this waiting period for a while, because I don't know what they did at Lisa S. I just know that she went from alarming discovery to, you know, super urgent attempts to stem the metaphorical bleeding to things like, you can choose this brain surgery that might prolong your life a lot, but you might not really, you're going to be kind of a vegetable after it, or not. Either way, you're going to die. So it went quick. Weird question, did she have a lot of moles? Well, she was very pale girl. She's not blood related to me. Both my aunt's kids are adopted. I mean, I think it was the brain cancer that killed her, but it was in her spine as well. And the last couple of days she was in a hospice. She had I mean, her attitude towards it was, I'm going to fight and win this thing. And so she approved and sought every kind of possible treatment that they could provide. But nobody else in the equation was ever saying, yeah, fight, survive this thing, because nobody else thought it was even possible. So, except for her husband, who would get angry at the doctors and stuff, understandably. It's a tense time and all that, but apparently had rather unreasonable expectations for the doctors. So, I'm not there amongst the immediate family of Julie and Brian and Julie and Brian's parents, my aunt and uncle, all of whom live in the general vicinity of Richmond, Virginia. So I didn't experience any of the day-to-day of it at all. And I didn't even experience any narratives about it firsthand. It was all through my dad, you know. But it feels like some sort of signal to move. Like, feels like a starting gun for me. Even though I'm only 2 years younger than she is. Like, okay, well, we have been kind of waiting for one of these like terminal illness, more or less, stories to complete. And it was Julie, and it's Richard, and it's Lonnie, Julie's dad, and it's you might also throw my mom in there, who's got dementia but shows no sign of being physically, like, I don't think her life's going to end anytime soon. She seems quite healthy, except for the mental stuff, you know. Well, yeah, I'm not sure there was a lot of Julie left at the end, because they had done a couple of kind of dramatic surgeries to remove chunks of cancer that were not trivial in terms of size. You know, start cutting up bits of people's brain. It's not a good way to go. Well, thanks for the FE, Lady Lou. Appreciate it. Like I said, the weird thing was Rachel was the only person who cried at the news. My dad and I didn't, and Rachel doesn't even know the woman, but she kind of intuits the significance of it from just the succession of updates that we both received from my dad for the last year or whatever. I have a dream, Jonathan Basanti. I have a dream of a world where white children and black children can play together in harmony. Okay? I have a dream of racial justice. And in between my dreams of racial justice, because I'm Martin Luther King Jr., I also dream a lot of fucking all the hoes. You know, I may be a reverend, but I'm still a man. And and a bit of a scumbag, so you know. I'm not somebody who's afraid to say, I don't know, cheat on my wife. You know, why is it that now I want to talk to Club ENTP more? To actually speak with him? Maybe it's because I've long stated that I wish there was another older ENTP, my age-ish or older than me, that to see, like, so I'd have something to compare against, right? I'm always comparing myself against younger ENTPs. Please, us, will you stop? God, you remind me of that dude, that ESFP dude who thinks he's an INTP stuff doer, who I have a conversation with that I could upload here. He was saying the same kind of shit to me. Like, okay, stop. Like, can anybody conceive of a world in which one person is going to tell another person, hey, pay a lot of attention to your health in ways you never have before because we care about you. Well, in this matter, perhaps you should care about you instead. You know, it's like, I don't want to be told what to do about shit like that. Who does? Who responds well to that? Who goes, oh yeah, you're right, I should. And, you know what? Thanks to Elise S.'s fine, unsolicited advice, I'm going to the doctor. That's what I'm doing. I need to make myself another butt of coffee. A butt of coffee is like a cup of coffee, but said in a funny ENTP way. I tell you, sometimes my own type makes me want to puke. Makes me want to puke, vomit all over everything. It's true. So true. Sometimes, when I hear myself speak, I want to vomit blood until I'm dead. Unfortunately, it never seems to happen. Well, not unfortunately, I guess. Perhaps just fortunately. Okay, I have listened to a little teeny bit of it, but I can't really say I've heard it at all. You deserve to have me listen to your shit and actually pay attention to you for a while. And I have not paid any attention to you at all, or any of the things you made. And you deserve me to do so. And so, I hereby tell you, and this is not a very good thing usually, but I'm going to hereby tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch some of your videos. I'm going to listen to some of your music. I'm going to evaluate you as a colleague and try not to hate on shit that you do well just because you're stepping on my ground or something. I do my very best to be an actualized ENTP instead of a stupid hater, okay? But I can tell you already, just from I couldn't hear any of it. I already liked the vibe of that you in a place talking to people about things video. Oh yeah, I should type police you. That's what we should do. That's what we'll do. We'll type police you. That's good. That's killing two birds with one stone. Then I'm not just consuming your media because I want to or think I should, but rather for some purpose of my own. That's a good idea. You're full of wisdom. Boy, everything changed now that I realize you're not 28. Why would that change anything, though? It really shouldn't. Well, I guess what changed was this. I realized, oh, that's so wrong of me. I was so wrong about that. Maybe this needs more investigation. I guess it was that. I recognize that other name. Do you show up like that under that name sometimes? Da Peru de Crusha. I was there 2 times when type policing, then I won't be able to 2 times your type police video. Ta. What you say makes lots of good sense. But then I won't be able to type police. Then I won't be able to 2 times it though. I wonder though if you got a good. No, you're just gonna have to ride the speed button. 2 times to 1 times to 2 times to 1 times. You have to ride it. You're gonna have to ride it like a stiff hard cock. What should I do with this pole-like thing? You should ride it. I see. Is it going to carry me someplace? No. Is it really riding then? Well, no. So when you say the word riding, you really mean inserting, don't you? Guilty as charged. I did mean inserting. It's kind of like a ride, like... No, I didn't see your interview with Melissa Talks. Did you call her out on not being an ENTP? Like, in this fucking conversation I had with Stuff Doer tonight, he claimed to be an INTP again. And I said, no, you're not an INTP, you know. I confirmed that I had tested him, and he tested TI Polar, and I said, well then, for further I'm concerned, you're definitively not an INTP. Oh, it was just before all the controversy. Well, lucky you, Club ENTP. Lucky you. Now you can successfully have not brought it up while also successfully claiming you didn't puss out about it. Congratulations. That's perfect for your 3rd slot FE, isn't it? What a lucky bastard you are. What a lucky bastard. Where are you living right now? Well, I'm just cock surfing. Cock surfing? Yeah, I just Crash it. Somewhere with the penis. I'll surf it all the way till morning. Where are you reading from, Eric? The TV screen. I'm standing over here by the microphone, but where the camera can't see me because I'm about to begin to premiere the onset or the beginning of the starting of my urination. And here it comes. Everybody wait with bated breath. I'll make sounds of satisfaction. Ah. Did an angel fall from heaven? Because it sure does feel like that with my urine coming out of my penis. You tried to get her on my show? You think it pissed her off at me, at you for some reason? She must have known in advance that she needed to avoid me because I can be a little adversarial. You know, not every ANTP is adversarial. Some of us are quite pleasant. I do think that whether you got an 8 or a 9 in your chart type, or a 1, has a lot to do with your affect. It's like, and where it is in the chart type as well. Like somebody who's 8 first, like Rachel's friend Jen, is an ENTP, but as far as I could tell, an 8 first. And when I was talking to her, you know, I could just feel the prickliness, the readiness to push back, you know. And because I'm 8, but I'm 7 before I'm 8, and because I'm older than that woman, and because I really want to not have an unsuccessful first encounter with Rachel's version of Corey, which is basically what Jen is. Oh, so you think you're 7-8 as well, huh? Well, you know, maybe if what I'm saying is right, then we should have a very similar affect. And I did think right away when I saw your channel, like, oh, this is good, it's just like me. And that's when I thought you were 28. You kind of look like me with a wig on, right? You seem to have retained your hair. So what great injustice afforded you that grace, huh? Oh, that's good. So you probably understand why I haven't watched any of your videos yet. Because your channel's like a year old or something, right? Have you had your first birthday yet? If so, maybe the first to say, Feliz cumpleaños. What are some major differences in INFJ and INFP? They're vastly different types. Vastly different. Feliz cumpleaños. The, what you call it? The INFPs, they're judging types, okay? So they got FI first. They're deliberators. It takes them a long time to decide on the status of something, longer than any other type, because their second function is extroverted intuition. So when you ask an INFP a question, there's a lot of humming and hawing and qualifying answers and needing more information to really be sure what their answer is, needing more particulars, stuff like that. Whereas if you ask an INFJ, a question, generally speaking, they'll give you an answer. So there's a lot less like resistance to determining the status of things in knowers than there is in deliberators, especially FINE. C.J. O'Connell in Dreams, what are the nature and feelings associated with that Eric dream? What Eric dream? Did I have a dream? My dream about race relations, you mean? No, that was mostly about you use beard color. Beard color. Beard color. I mean, the thing is, neither of us is old, except in the sense that, in terms of our meowings, right? Except in the sense that, I guess, we're empowered to do what we want and not particularly scared of doing it, obviously. I mean, that I picked up from right away on his channel. He's comfortable doing what he wants, and he's not particularly worried about whatever. So, like, he's not consumed by self-doubt, and he isn't crippled by it. So that's one of those things that may correlate with age, but I think probably only with age and things, the chips falling the right way, you know. Do INTPs don't get old too? I really love the construction of that question. I don't know what I want, though. The thing is, the reason I could answer one of those two questions about what I wanted, I was asked what I wanted for the channel, which is not a question I could really answer. And I'm going to have to think about for a long time before I could give any meaningful answer for it, other than, I'm not sure. But the other question I could answer more easily, which was, what do you want for yourself, is I don't want anything, really. That's easy to answer because I know that I get to do what I want all the time. I mean, what more do I want? I don't know what more there is to want, really. You know, what do you want? If I were to answer it in a really concrete way, I might say, well, I'd like $1,000 shopping spree at Guitar Center, I guess. You know, I had a huge dinner, although it was a fairly late dinner too, because my dad made this super hot jambalaya and I ate a shit ton of it. Yeah, so it's like, I can imagine, like, I can answer the question, what do you want? If you answer the question, okay, well, are you saying there's a certain number of things that are available for free and I can choose from them? What are the contexts there? How much trouble do I have to go to actually acquire the thing? Even if it is free, do I have to go drive somewhere to pick it up? Or, you know, it's like, do I want any of these free things? Well, yeah, I guess I want that thing over there. You know, so I do want things. Yeah, I wanted McDonald's Coke so bad earlier today. And I had it. I got it for myself. Rachel and I went to McDonald's. Listen to this. We were smart today. Real smart. Genius level smart. For the two of us, we got 4 Cokes. Did we regret it? Did we finish to fail both of them? Did we fail to finish both of them? No, we did not fail to finish both of them. We finished both of them. Each of us did. We did not regret getting 4 Cokes. we exulted in getting 4 Cokes. It was a wise choice. We also got 4 McDoubles and 1 large fries. What do I want badly? By badly, do you mean, do I want it in a haphazard and clumsy fashion? Everything. If by badly you mean a lot, what do I want a lot? Well, what do you mean by want a lot? Do you mean, do I frequently feel the desire to want? If you're talking about what I frequently feel the desire for, what I frequently want, I would say cigarettes. I frequently want a cigarette. So, that's true. I frequently want a bong rip. I frequently want a drink of something. I frequently want a live stream. I frequently want to play the guitar. I frequently want to touch the dirty part of myself or rub it onto Rachel, one of the two. I mean, usually the latter, but the point is, I want jostling to occur frequently enough. I've been accused of incitement of jostling on occasion, and I wasn't one who was going to deny those charges. I did incite the jostling by saying, "Hey Rachel, I want to take a bath." Thanks, Rachel. Could it possibly be because Eric wants to get clean? No. There's only one reason Eric wants to get clean. That's not called addiction. That's called wanting frequency. Everything has a wanting frequency, Alien 60. I mean, it seems tonight I quite frequently want to correct you, but that doesn't make me addicted to it. What you are doing what you want badly, what now? Well, now I point out that I'm not addicted to correcting you, and then after that you say, but I mean long term, Eric. What do you want long term? And I say, to be president and to then found the first base on Mars that's not some stupid Elon Musk thing. So it'll be a good base. It'll be like, it's gonna have a lot of lasers. Have lasers. It's gonna have space cats, space dogs. It's gonna be way better. So after that, I plan to either wake up in a pod where I learned that this entire life had been a simulated game that I had played during the course of one day of a real biological life, at which I was only like 14 years old, which would explain why my personality is like this throughout this entire life, right? That explains it. Because I am a simulation in this world, right? There's this world that they've got these pods, and you put yourself into the pod, and let's rename Mars No TE World, okay? Just be like right in the middle of Mars in the red, we'll put a big white painted circle with TE in the middle and a big line through it. Get the fuck out of here, NTJs. Fuck off. No, I know it's going to fall over. We don't care. That's what makes it fun. You never know when you get on it if it's going to collapse underneath you. And that's fine. So just, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's probably not going to fall over. It's called Foot. The world's called Foot now. It's not Mars, okay? We've renamed Mars Foot. Stands for fuck you, TE. Yeah, see, Club E&P. I understand now the like-mindedness of two like-minded like-minds. Why, that's like cubed. There's a high degree of similarity. The MBTI type that I don't feel like talking to? Well, you know what's interesting and true is I've encountered instances of every single type that I've found interesting and worth talking to. And I would not say necessarily that the opposite's true, that I found examples of every single type that are not worth talking to. Generally, but I probably have, but not memorably so, you know? Not memorably so. It really depends on the individual and what we're talking about. So, it's like I'm encountering them in a typing session. So, naturally, I don't really feel like not talking to them because I'm trying to figure out what type they are. I had an embarrassing reality. Oh, I forgot to mention this. I meant to mention this sooner. So, do you guys recognize this name? This lady, Alexis Kingsley, who apparently we type policed, and she said she was an INTJ, and we said she wasn't an INTJ. We said she was an ENFJ. She hired me to type her. I typed her today, and she was an ENTJ. I would never have guessed that. She was, in other words, while she belonged in the slammer because she wasn't an INTJ, she didn't belong in the slammer for the reasons that I put her in the slammer. Therefore, I feel the need to put up a correction video that says, it turns out I was wrong about her. Not that she's an INTJ. I feel quite confident she's ENTJ and not INTJ, but that's a very understandable mistake to make in terms of self-typing. And so the fact that I arrested her and she wasn't INTJ doesn't really matter because I didn't really have probable cause, so the thing gets thrown out, So I don't think she ends up in type prison. She, of course, had to spend some time in type jail, but I don't think let's see what this definition is here. This looks like something I want to wag my finger at. You know how I periodically like to wag my finger at things. Gabor Mate says that addiction is any behavior that gives a person temporary relief and pleasure but also has negative consequences and to which the individual will return time and again. Well, I don't know. No, I haven't thought about it more. Winston's mom. I haven't thought about it at all. That's just... Here's the thing. It is not the case that addictions have to be bad. Okay? The reason that people assume addiction is bad is because they're always comparing against a baseline of somebody who's not addicted to anything, right? But the reality is everybody has their firemen. and to use, I think this is maybe an internal family systems thing. Everybody has their managers and their firemen. Managers are aspects of self, parts of the self, is what they say in internal family systems, that one uses under normal circumstances. Firemen are parts of the self one goes to when there's some kind of emergency. Now, like for me then, when I used to get into fights, when I was with Kimberly and we get into a big fight or something, and I wanted to act out, but also indulge myself and you know, basically lick my wounds in a way that was a firefighter kind of thing, then I would go play poker. Now, if I started to play poker a lot, started to lose a lot of money and stuff, then that would be an example of a negative relationship with a self-management technique, okay? Because I've taken a firefighter and tried to turn it into a manager. But the addictions that, quote unquote, I have, cigarettes, pot, are managers, not firefighters. And to critique the managers is to ignore the particularist individual that you're dealing with. So it's not the case that the addictions I have are the alternative to no addictions. It is the case that the addictions I have are the alternative to me already being dead in a drunk driving accident from being a worthless drunk. So, in other words, there's a reality embedded in each individual that is part what's come before, part nature, part a lot of things, right? When we talk about addiction as if it were a problem or a single thing, we make believe that people don't need their security blanket. They don't need their pacifier. Everybody has it to some extent, right? And also we don't respect the fact that everybody's got their own successful ways of doing things. So when people critique my smoking or smoking pot or whatever, or say that it's necessarily harmful or something, well, they're presuming that they get to choose between Eric with smoking and Eric without smoking, right? But of course, if you just take away from Eric all access to cigarettes and pot, magically somehow, you do not get left with Eric without those things. You get left with Eric who's lost basic manager approaches to just dealing with going through life, right? And now and did so abruptly and without any consent or warning or anything like that. Then you're going to see somebody who's scrambling to manage to be okay, and will reach for firefighters that are not going to express nearly as successfully. So I think SI users are more likely to become addicted than NI users. I don't know. And here's the other thing. For questions like that, is hedonism good? Again, you're presuming a baseline that doesn't really exist. Hedonism for me will look like But me, normal me, might look like hedonism for you. Hedonism is a stage one can enter into, and it's relative to your norm. It's not relative to some abstract standard that's dead in the middle of, or it's not relative to extreme fucking aestheticism or something. You know, it's relative to your norm. People that get off addictions, I think, end up building a basis while doing whatever they're addicted to do for them to jump from the addiction. I mean, the thing is, if you were to remove from the world all intoxicants, so that I couldn't change my head at all with anything, and you would remove all tobacco, so I couldn't smoke or get any nicotine. You remove all nicotine all of a sudden. I don't doubt that I would eventually adjust to that new world and have kind of a permanent kind of grieving for not having access to that kind of thing. But I wouldn't be too desperate, because there's this phenomenon with head stuff that goes like this. You're really fiendy to try to get meh until you are clearly sure that you're not going to get it. Then you can let it go completely. As long as it's up in the air and you might have it and it might be out there, and we're chasing down a lead and it's looking good, maybe we're going to get it, you really want it. And you're going to chase it with all your might. As soon as though that falls through and it's like, no, actually it turned out to be that we're not going to get it, then very quickly you go, your first instinct is to go, well, maybe try another. You know what, fuck it, never mind, I don't want it anymore. It's like, there's this quality. The knowledge that it's not going to be possible to get it means that I would fixate less on wanting it, right? But that's, of course, not the reality we live in. So, yes, it is true that my experience of reality is informed by my knowledge, but I know the opposite of that. I know that, in fact, there are various intoxicants in the world, and sometimes I want to do them. I don't consider marijuana an intoxicant, though, really. It doesn't really do anything to me, or much of anything to me. And it's more like my cigarette supplement, you might say. Let me look at my calendar here. I've got a few things to do tomorrow. I want to schedule a conversation with you, Club ENTP. Are you available right now? It's easy as a schedule if you're available right now. Are you available right now? If so, I would like to end this live stream and meet you in a video conference room and interview you. Yes? Okay, cool. So, let me put the Google Meet link. So I haven't watched any of your stuff. This will be the first time I hear your voice. Okay, so what I need to do is this first. Then I need to push this with the meow. Then I need to push meow with the pia. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh yeah. Tonight, all night, forever. For all of your life and forevermore. This is what love is going to taste like. You can't right now. Okay, well then never mind. We'll see about the morning. I don't know. I'm watching basketball right now, you know. I'm supposed to be with my student at 7:30 in the morning. Like, really? Am I really going to get up that early? Maybe, but let's see what this lady says. 1600, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Oh, it's today now. Yeah, alright, lady. Lindsay. Lindsay. Is that how you spell it? Hey, 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 hey. You need to put some I's in your name, Lindsay. Can't have just all Y's. God. Don't you even know anything about how to spell your own name? People these days, the quality of client I get, it just keeps getting lower and lower. I'm just kidding, of course. That's not the case at all. That's not true, what I just said. I was just making a yolk. Like from an egg. Hilarious. Bum 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 bum. Hilarious. Okay, I'm going to go. I'm gonna go. And I won't forget you though, because I love you with all of my heart. If you wanna feel good, you will be a pew pew pew. I'll give you a good show. Don't take your eyes out. Whose eyes am I not going to take out? Duran Duran's? Remember this. I am a man who will wait at McDonald's. I will wait as long as I need for Coke. Cold and refreshing. McDonald's will beckon, 'cause I'll do it all for the glory of Coke. I did it all for Coke. Yeah, I don't know why he does that either, Jonathan. It's a mystery. But that's what makes him so intriguing and mysterious, I guess. Good night, sweethearts. It's time to go.